I'm not going to knot at the end that has the needle
because I'm going to have cord left over when I finish. It comes in 2-meter lengths, which is more than enough to do 2 necklaces, unless you're doing a really long cocktail necklace or something. So to preserve the needle, we work on the end of the cord away from the needle. So go to the very end, the free end, and make a knot. Just a standard overhand knot. And that's the first knot for your project. Take your fingernail polish or your glue. Color is up to you. I'm using clear, although it's scented. And just dab it on the knot to create a nice tight seal. Apple. Pull the bead tip down. And if you have strong fingers, you can use your fingers, or if you have a pair of pliers, use the pliers, and clamp the bead tip closed around the knot. Can you tell by my face I'm not happy with how I lined that up? But oh well. What can you do?
The joys of handmade.
Trim off the short end of the cord that's sticking out of the bead tip.
Not the end with the pearls on it.
Put one part of your toggle around the loop and then close the loop around the toggle. Now push all the pearls down toward that end of the string. Leave 6 to 8 inches of cord between the bead tip and the first pearl so that you have room to make the knot without the beads getting in the way. Once you've pushed down the beads, take the card and wrap the needle and the thread back around the card. That way there's no chance that your beads will accidentally fall off the free end of the cable while you're working. So if you were to take this on a vacation with you to the airport, this is basically all you would need to take, this and your tweezers, and you're good to go. How simple is that? So I'm right-handed, sorry. So I've got to do this right-handed instructions. Hold the end you're knotting to in your right hand, the end with the beads on it that you're knotting from in your left hand.
So go ahead and just make a knot. Don't pull it tight. Take your tweezers, reach through the middle of the knot and grab onto the string right where you want the knot to be positioned.
Take your tweezers, reach inside of the knot and grab the cord right above the bead tip. So what that does is as you pull the knot tight, the tweezers guide the knot and force it to position on the cord right next to the bead tip, exactly where the tweezers are. Once you have it as tight as you can get it around the tweezers, slide the tweezers out, and as you make the knot tighter, finally, use the tweezers to push it down towards the bead tip. And that is basically that. We just keep repeating that, sliding a bead in place next to the knot, make an overhand knot, put the tweezers through the knot, grab right above the bead, which is where we want the next knot to be, pull tight, slide the tweezers out, use them to push the knot down against the pearl as you tighten it, and repeat. Slide a bead against the knot, make a new overhand knot, slide the tweezers through the middle, position them right against the new pearl you just added, let the knot form itself right against that pearl, slide the tweezers out carefully, and then use the tweezers to push that knot into place against that top pearl. As you work, you may notice that the strand is slightly kinky. If you just give a gentle pull, it loosens those knots a little bit more, and then it is free moving. If it doesn't, you're making really tight knots, which is a great skill to have, but unfortunately it'll make the necklace look very tight, and you don't want that. You want it to move when you move and to flow. So if they're not loosening up a little when you give it a tug, then consider making them either a little bit farther away from the pearl or not pulling as tight when you tighten them. I'm dropping the whole strand back through the middle. So I've got,
it's like if I was trying to just make a regular knot right in the middle here in this empty cord. But instead, I reach through, put the tweezers above the bead, and then pull tight, and that guides the knot. So instead of landing in the middle of the cord somewhere, it lands right next to the pearl I want it to.
So now repeat 60 times. No, I don't know how many times. Repeat till you get to the end. Just about through. And this time, instead of grabbing onto the top of the bead, grab to the middle of the bead tip where it's going to close around. And make the knot there. Take the glue or your nail polish, put a drop on this last knot, and we'll close the bead tip around it.
I'll take my pliers and close the bead tip.
I did a much better job than on the other side. I know you were worried about that. Then with your scissors or your wire cutters, whatever you're using to cut off the extra string. Put the last toggle in place.
Close it up.
Bend the bead tip around the toggle, making sure you leave enough room that the toggle can move freely. And that is it. Finished necklace.